choice of songs. We're back in.
Gotta get to the chorus.
Big drivers. Like no one else. Drives them crazy.
Nicely done, Billy Gill. It's the driver show.
It is. We tried to get the Andretti's in, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't work. We don't have the poll like we used to have. The one back in, everybody. Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy. Brought to you by McPhee's Grill of Templeton. Hometown cooking through and through. Check out McPhee'sGrill.com. 805-434-3204 and the website McPhee'sGrill.com. So we're talking drivers. Drivers in the news. Lots of drivers in the news lately.
Yeah. I'll just read the headline and you can fire off. So just recently, non-conforming drivers are being used at the PGA Tour stops by multiple players. Recent players, Xander Schauffele at the Open, Jason Duffner, Robert Streb recently, I think, and wherever they just were, in New Orleans, I think. The manufacturers of these clubs are Titleist, TaylorMade, and Cobra, which is the big three. Without just with the exception of maybe Ping being in there, those are the big three, man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to read this and then we can talk about it. So basically, are they cheating? Are they trying to cheat? Is it a crime? Are they trying to get away with something or not? And the more I read, not. So this is what the equipment manufacturer representative of Sunday, this just past Sunday, explained the process of which drivers can become non-conforming. They all start off legal, and then the faces start to deform, and the CT number increases. So they beat it up, the face starts to conform, and somehow that triggers more of a spring action, I guess. He told Reuters, explaining that even non-conforming clubs confirm little, if any, advantage. They have little to any advantage. It doesn't necessarily correlate to higher ball speed, said the representative. This will become a non-topic by next year. So it sounds like some of these drivers who start off conforming, because I don't believe Xander's going to put a driver that he knows doesn't conform in his bag. I don't think any of these guys would. I don't think they know. Right. And so they do these pop-in like drug tests or driver tests that drives me crazy.
I think it's 30 of them per event, right?
Per event, yeah. And so they found out these few. But the explanation is that they get hit and they start to deform. This is from the manufacturer's people.
Does it say which one?
No, it just
which company?
An equipment manufacturer representative. So they start off legal, and then the face starts to deform, and the CT number increases. So there are illegal drivers, and is it a crime? And we'll get into that later. But the tour people now they're starting to test for these drivers, and it's such a big deal on distance, man. It just seems like they're hitting it so far. I mean, it's can't even comprehend. Even these Champions Tour players, oh my God, these guys crush it out there.
Well.
My age, and they're smashing it, man.
Yeah, I bet.
And anyways,
what you read is the opposite of what I was told by someone with one of those companies.
Oh, I've read. But you were told personally, because I read this from the link you clicked to set.
So whoever that representative, I'm not saying it's wrong, and I've never heard about that a driver gets used more and more, and then it becomes non-conforming
after it starts to deform. It starts to deform, is what he said.
So I've heard the opposite with one particular company, someone that I know that works with that company.
He named names.
Will be nameless. Will remain nameless. They all come off the production line illegal, all of them, and they're even the ones that come to the public.
That's what the public, but to the tour players too.
Well, yeah. So here's what happens.
I can see it coming to the public.
So what they do is this I heard this in the beginning of this year. This is like January, February of this year. They build the driver. It comes out illegal. They fill it with a resin or an epoxy that backfills the face. That drops it just below.
Muffles it a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was told by two different companies. And when I say two different companies, talking about representatives for those companies, that was the whole.
Well, I'll name names. TaylorMade is known for doing exactly that, but they they spray it inside with this foam or whatever to bring it to conforming. So they know they're hot to beginning, but they muffle them before they send them out. So they are conforming from what I heard, but that's the company I've read. Their company did that.
Yeah, and then my question on that is, when you talk about someone like those guys who are hitting it as hard as they hit it,
maybe the resin busts.
Yeah,
that could be what they mean by becoming deformed, or something inside is unmuffled.
Yeah,
if you will, or undampered, or if they damper it up so it's not so much spring. But it, and then these guys, of course, this is a manufacturer say it has very little difference to higher ball speed. I mean, they're saying that, but of course they're going to say that.
Yeah, so it has to mean something, because otherwise they wouldn't be testing for it.
And by the way, these players had to switch drivers. The ones that found they were wrong had to go get a different driver for the day. They're trying to make that maybe change, because it's not intentional. And that's, I think, so they're trying to figure this out and have other drivers.
How are you going to?
You're going to have the same driver maybe before they go to get banged so much that it breaks the resin. And we don't know if that's the issue. But these guys had to pull their drivers out and put new ones in for these events.
So here's a question. And then
there's a bunch of names.
And then I've got another example, two examples that I've had happen this year with drivers that I think are interesting, that I got to see the internal of the driver and what it looks like. But say Shoffley is like he got, his driver gets tested. It doesn't pass. Can they just take the head off and he keeps the same shaft and replace the head?
Probably, as long as it conforms again. Yeah. I mean, I
think when that happened to him, they replaced the whole driver.
That's what they said. They took their drivers out, put new drivers in. But does that mean that they nowadays with the clip-on heads, man? I don't know.
Because really the issues with the head. It's not with the shaft. Right.
But I don't know. Maybe if they'd have to put a new head on and hit it and test it again. If it was the shaft, I mean, I don't know what these things. But it's interesting. More so interesting, I think, for the recreational player. I mean, I find it that drives me crazy that recreational players put so much intention on that driver. So
the emphasis on the driver.
Emphasis on the driver, because most of them can't hit it anyways.
Right.
And I don't mean that bad. They just don't have the skill set to swing fast and hit the center of the face. So what they use these so-called illegal drivers, so what? Is it really a crime? And that's what they're fighting. So not many golfers engage in a conversation about illegal golf drivers, right? It may be something that could give you more trouble than benefit. The truth is, these drivers get you into trouble, nor will they be banned from the golf course. These drivers won't get you in trouble or banned from the golf course. The only reason that they do not conform with the USGA and RA rules is parameters of rigor, weight, and shape, right? So I know what rigor means, or I think it's a cutoff word. Regular weight and shape. Being non-conforming doesn't mean that the manufacturers can't make them for you. So they can there's a list of the hottest non-conforming drivers. So my question is, as you have tournaments and I know that you're very, you control them with handy indexes, have to be proper. You really are making it as fair a field as possible at your place, right?
Right.
You guys do that. Awesome. Are you checking drivers?
No, I mean, to be honest, we're not.
I mean, nobody. Come on, because it's such a fine line, and if it's it's mostly the sign, but there is a list, the in-depth view, and I have the number one. It's the Intech Golf Behemoth.
Yes, I have the top 10. I have the top 10.
You too.
I was going to mention something. So you were right. The one company, and I talked to the rep, was TaylorMade.
Yeah.
I might as well say it. The other company that I have seen is not the Epic Flash, but the Big Bertha Epic from 2018. I have personally seen two of those drivers shatter. The head is actually shattered off the top. And when you look at the internal of the driver and you see the resin's in all different places. And no, those two drivers, at least the two that broke, because the customers gave them to me, not because they bought them through us, but they said, hey, can you do anything about warrantying this thing? Because it broke on the seam and the top of the driver crown just flies right off the driver. And you can see the resin in there. The resin's not poured the same in both of those drivers. So the thing that's fascinating to me is, if they're putting that resin inside the driver and it's really like, okay, we're just going to put the resin in there until we get it to legal, how do you know that some of that resin is not?
You're talking USGA and RNA legal, right? You're
Yeah.
talking conforming golf club.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I understand what Billy just said and asking you about the inspection, they don't inspect the clubs and equipment of golfers on these major tours? Like, that nobody's around to make sure that they're within parameters?
Well, they do. They're doing pop inspections now. They're taking 30 random players, drivers out of their bag and testing them.
Yeah, they don't do anything else that I'm aware of.
Can you flag another player if you suspect that they're
I don't
using something?
Probably. I don't know. You mean to be a whistleblower?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Probably. I haven't read anything about it. Matter of fact, this is just now, and I think what Mike is alluding to, and I agree, is a lot of these clubs, these manufacturers, they are coming off. They would not pass the USGA and RNA because they're too fast. They're too hot off the face. So they're putting stuff inside the head to muffle that. And then that stuff could break down or whatever, and now they're back to hot again or something to that effect. So the manufacturers are selling clubs, or giving them clubs that work. It's what's happening after they use them. So how would you flag somebody in a club that's, it's just a random test. And it's,
well, in an amateur event, how are you going to flag?
You can't. That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm getting at.
And I had an article on what it is, and you might have it too. I had it pulled up here on the internet. I had an article on exactly what it is that they're testing for. It's something to do with milliseconds of the ball coming off the face and how long it's how long the ball actually stays on the face too.
Yeah, it's like a COR, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy measurement. It's something that you would never even
it's
fathom.
Interesting because they're in the marketplace, not the tour players marketplace, but in the recreational marketplace. They manufacture them by the millions of clubs that would not conform to these USGA and RNA rules. And people are using them all the time, mostly the size of the head, how the USGA has limits, how many cc's the head can be, how much it can weigh, how fast, but to me, and this is what drives me crazy, is, and I'm telling you, if this is a case, if non-conforming drivers are being used, why is there such a focus on drivers with a recreational player? You see them all the time. They're buying them in the shops. They're going, I need a new driver. Buddy says, oh, you got to try this driver.
Right.
Are they looking for, I'm just asking, and are they looking for the magic club that goes straight and far? Is it because of marketing and how much they put emphasis on long drives in the tour? Is there too much focus? Is there too much on the tour, how far they're going, so people are seeing this? Is it just hope that they find this thing?
I think most
or
people
is it delusional?
I think most people think the driver's the answer to better golf.
And I totally disagree with that.
Yeah, and I totally disagree with that
part
too.
of it, but I don't think, so you don't hit it often.
Right.
That club is not, 12 times maybe in a round of golf. Maybe but you probably only 9 times maybe, right? I'm just guessing, depending on the golf
Depends on
course.
where we're playing.
Well, of course.
Yeah, it depends on where
typically,
we're playing. Yeah.
There's 4 or 5 par 3s, and there's little holes that you're hitting hybrids or laying up off the tees with 3 woods anyways, right?
Right.
So in your golf course, I'm betting, I don't know, but I'm betting there's 9 or 10 total. So obviously, why isn't there, the players, if they don't have skill set, meaning they can't get the club square, hit the solid face with that much speed at impact, there's nothing going to help them.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And so some of these hotter drivers could actually make it worse.
Yeah.
So until they do the skill set to hit it square, then yeah, I would think a hotter driver could benefit you, right? A little bit, a few yards here and there, especially. But you couldn't get the shaft mixed. Dave's always said the shaft was the engine and stuff like that.
Right.
But these people want to spend, how many drivers going? $500 or $600?
They're over $500.
Over
now.
$500.
Yeah.
And are they delusional? Are they hoping? Is it marketing? Because nobody's really working on their putters that much. You putt twice as much as you hit driver.
I have a great
3
story
times.
about that.
Actually, you put 3 times as much as you would if you're hitting 9 drivers and you have 27 putts, which is a pretty good putting round. That's 3 times more than you're hitting drivers, your putter.
Yeah.
But they're not freaking about putters too much. They want this new $600 driver. Although, how much are Camerons now? $350.
They're kidding. I've seen cameras down the fours to 5s.
And is a camera a better putter than the next blade down? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So it drives me crazy that you got to see. And then one more thing, and that's all yours.
Yeah.
I work with junior golf every day of my life. I work with all the ages from 6 years old, as you do, up to through high school level players. And 99% of my students are now young people, and I'm grateful for that. But if I said, go get a club, let's warm up. Pick any club, let's go hit some warm-up shots. What club are they grabbing?
Well, they're grabbing the driver.
They're grabbing the driver, and it drives me crazy.
Maybe a hybrid if you're lucky.
The better players.
Yeah.
And then the real good players are grabbing 8-iron first.
Right.
You're looking down, they're hitting 8-irons, 6-irons, they'll work their way to hybrids, hit drivers. But if you tell even a little bitty kid who's got these, so go get a club, and I always say I don't recommend a club. I want them to choose, empowering them. You look out, no swings yet today. Got a pile of some balls, and they're slashing at drivers, falling over, hitting it crooked, missing it. And then they wonder why.
That's so funny, man.
Do you see it too? So you're like, just build skill set first. Get yourself able to square the face. So it is, but that's never changed. It's still that way. Then I have to go into the talk and why are we doing this? And what do you think is more logical? And trying to empower them to maybe next time choose. And the next time, go get whatever club. The drivers come flying out again until they start to get the comprehension. Oh, because practice makes permanent.
Yep.
So you hit a whole bunch of bad shots with your driver, you're getting good at it. You're getting really good at hitting it bad.
Yeah.
But if you start off with something you can hit and you can build your skill set and you go to a little longer club and you can hit it square, pretty soon you're up into that driver range and it's fine. Hit 10 of them, pull it away.
It's very well said.
That's my only rant, buddy.
It's perfect. I love it. We're going to take our second break. Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy right here on the Golf Talk Radio Network. Stay with us.